There comes a time in life when your soul grows quiet, not out of peace, but out of exhaustion. You fought battles no one saw, stayed faithful when no one clapped, carried weights that nearly broke your back, and yet you kept going. Not because it was easy, but because something inside you whispered, "Don't stop yet." Some of you are here right now. You've been moving, but you're not sure if you're making progress. You've been giving, but you're not sure if it's noticed. You've been growing, but you wonder if anyone will ever see what it's cost you. And that's where the shift begins. Because heaven sees what hustle never will. Heaven counts what the world ignores. And the good news is, nothing you endured was wasted. Your silence wasn't empty. It was sacred. You weren't being delayed. You were being developed. You see, the journey with God is not about pushing yourself to be seen. It's about allowing yourself to be shaped. And some of the deepest shaping happens in shadows. Not in platforms, not in applause, but in private faithfulness. Jesus didn't build his life by climbing ladders. He built by laying foundations in obscurity. 30 years of preparation, 3 years of ministry. That ratio matters because it tells us something powerful. Heaven is not rushed. It's intentional. And you, yes you, are not behind. You're on time. You've been stewarding things in silence, your character, your prayers, your inner healing. And God has been watching all of it. Not as a distant observer, but as a present father, deeply invested in your process. And now a shift is beginning. Not because you demanded attention, but because he's calling you forward. This moment, this new chapter you're stepping into, isn't about proving anyone wrong. It's not about finally making it. It's about fulfilling a promise. One that was whispered into your spirit long before the world knew your name. The opportunities that are beginning to unfold aren't rewards for performance. They are releases. Releases of what's already been planted inside you, watered with tears and pruned by obedience. What felt like hiding was actually God's hand covering you until the time was right. And now that time is approaching. That's why things feel like they're shifting inside you. Your voice feels heavier, not with burden, but with authority. Your presence feels different, not louder, but more grounded. Your prayers are touching deeper places. Your awareness is rising. And it's not because you changed your strategy. It's because you stayed in alignment. This is what it feels like to be prepared, not promoted. To be appointed, not just assigned. And here's what's important to understand. You're not walking into this season as the same person who first dreamed about it. You're stronger now, not in your pride, but in your peace. You don't need to shout anymore. Your spirit speaks volumes. Your ego has been softened. Your discernment has sharpened. This is what refining does. It strips away the noise and strengthens the core. And that's why you can walk into rooms now and not seek to be seen, but still be noticed. Not for who you pretend to be, but for the oil you carry. You don't need validation. You carry confirmation. And that confirmation comes from a higher source. It's the result of surrender, not striving. It's what Jesus modeled when he walked with authority, not because of title, but because of truth. And now that truth is rising in you. But understand, your growth will make some people uncomfortable. Some won't recognize the version of you that's emerging. They'll want the old you back, the one who stayed small, who apologized for taking up space, who was easier to understand. But let me tell you this with boldness. You are not responsible for their comfort. You are responsible for your calling. You're not changing to impress anyone. You're evolving because you've outgrown who you used to be. You don't need to apologize for your maturity. You don't need to explain your transformation. You're not walking in arrogance. You're walking in alignment. And alignment will always look like rebellion to those still attached to your past. But don't let that stop you. Keep moving forward. Love them. Bless them. But don't shrink for them. What God is doing in you now doesn't require their permission. It requires your obedience. This is the moment you stop performing and start embodying. You don't need to convince people that you've changed. Your fruit will speak for you. Your presence will speak for you. Your peace will speak for you. What used to drain you won't even affect you anymore. Not because you're cold, but because you've healed. You've matured. What once triggered you no longer holds power over you. And that's not because you've hardened your heart, but because God has softened your soul. You've moved from reacting to responding, from explaining to simply living. That's what happens when you walk not by force, but by grace. Not from ambition, but from assignment. And in this space, you don't just speak truth, you become it. You don't just believe in calling, you embody it. So hear me clearly. You are not stepping into this new chapter by accident. You're stepping in because you're ready. Ready in ways you didn't even know. Ready not because of what you've accomplished, but because of who you've become. And when heaven says, now, no one can stop what's coming, you won't need to push for it. It will flow to you. Because this is not the result of hustle. It's the reward of hiddenness. It's not the outcome of striving. It's the outcome of surrender. And now you walk, not with fear, not with apology, but with quiet, unshakable confidence. Not to prove anything, but to fulfill everything. But here's where it gets deeper. You thought the dream had expired. You thought too much time had passed, too many mistakes had been made. But God is saying, I never forgot. He's not just reviving the dream. He's rebirthing it. And this time, it won't come from ambition. It will come from encounter. It won't be built on insecurity or ego. It will be built on intimacy. He's giving you new blueprints, new language, new people. He's clearing your schedule, preparing the soil. And it may feel strange because you're no longer chasing it. It's now chasing you. Because the dream is aligned. The timing is right. The heart is ready. And here's the beautiful truth. You don't need to force it anymore. What's being released in your life now doesn't come through pressure. It comes through presence. This is why your awareness must rise, not just in action, but in intimacy. You don't just need vision. You need awareness, awareness of how he moves, how he whispers, how he redirects. This kind of sensitivity doesn't come through more doing. It comes through deeper surrender. You're being called into communion, not just action. Into formation, not just information. Into silence where your soul listens again. Not for another task, but for transformation. This is where Jesus leads you, not to busyness, but to oneness. He didn't build his life on constant motion. He built it on constant connection. He drew away often, not to escape, but to align. And you're being invited into that same rhythm, not just to be filled, but to be formed. Let me tell you something profound. What will sustain you in the places you're going is not your stamina, not your planning, not your charisma. It's your communion. It's your stillness, your awareness. The people who remain steady in promotion are those who never disconnected from presence. Because elevation without formation leads to collapse. But when you're led by spirit, you're not just effective, you're anchored. When criticism comes, you won't be shaken. When favor increases, you won't be prideful. Because your identity is not in the outcome. It's in the presence that birthed it. That's what Jesus modeled. He never lost himself in popularity. He never changed his mission because of crowd pressure. He stayed rooted. And now he's teaching you to do the same. So yes, there will be changes. Some of the things that used to satisfy you won't anymore. Some relationships that made sense in one season won't in the next. Some roles you used to carry will feel too heavy now, not because they're wrong, but because they're too small for who you've become. That's not rebellion. That's revelation. When you grow, you outgrow. And when God shifts your capacity, he shifts your assignments. That includes your environment, your language, your rhythm. What used to excite you may now feel empty. What used to drain you, you now have the power to walk away from. And it's not selfish. It's stewardship. Because when God calls you forward, you can't keep dragging yesterday with you. You're not being reckless. You're being refined. You're not rejecting people. You're receiving purpose. So don't apologize. Don't shrink. Don't dim your light to match an old version of yourself. The people meant for this season will recognize the oil on your life, even if they don't recognize your name. And those who don't understand, love them, bless them, but move on. Because you're not here to stay familiar. You're here to stay faithful. And faithfulness sometimes means walking alone for a stretch. But you're not alone. Heaven is with you. And more than that, the Spirit is in you. Not as a tool, not as an add-on, but as the very breath of God guiding, shaping, healing, and empowering you from the inside out. This is the call now, not just to lead well, or speak well, or perform well, but to live well, to walk not just in truth, but in intimacy, to speak not just from knowledge, but from encounter. This next season is not about being impressive. It's about being authentic. It's about being aligned. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't just visit the presence, but abides in it, who doesn't just carry peace, but becomes it, who doesn't just preach love, but lives it. And this kind of life doesn't come through pressure. It comes through surrender, through awareness, through daily walking with the one who knows every part of you and is still calling you forward.